Welcome to episode 125 of the Epilogue Lady podcast. My name is Bente and I'm coming to you from Vesterålen, northern Norway, where I live with my husband, my oldest son and 3 cats. You can find me on Instagram as Arctic Crafts, on Facebook as Arctic Crafts by Bente, and on Ravelry as Arctic Crafts 65. There is a make-along on Ravelry at the moment. It's the Fluff to Stuff Mal 2025. I drew the prize winners for 2024 a few days back. I haven't heard back from all of them yet. So if you participated in the Fluff to Stuff, please check your Ravelry. You might have a DM from me in your inbox. I'm calling this episode a fresh start. And that's just what it is. I decided to start podcasting again, but on my own terms. That means not a set schedule. I'll try to do about 1 episode a month. Maybe more often if I have something special to talk about. But it will vary a lot how much I'm working. This month I'm only working a few days, so I have the capacity to record a podcast episode. As you can see, the lighting is still an issue. I still can't find the cable for my ring light. So I hope you can deal with this until I either find the cable or decide to buy myself a new ring light. As is, I'm using my LED work lamp and the overhead lights in the living room. But the main thing is that you can see me. Hopefully you find that, that it works for that. There's a bit of chaos behind me. You just have to live with that as well. It's been both a quiet and a busy Christmas. It's been quiet because we haven't done anything special. We've done what we always do for Christmas. We've spent time together at home and had good food, and that's about it. I had my youngest son here for Christmas, so there were 4 of us, and we really enjoyed our Christmas vacation. So everything is back to normal, hubby's back to work, and my oldest son is back to work. And that means I have the entire house to myself some days, and that works really well for recording. I need some time to set up before I start recording, and I prefer to edit the same day as I recorded. It's much easier to remember. I have things ready for show notes and everything, so I prefer to do it the same day. And today I have the house to myself until I think it's 4 p.m. So plenty of time to do this today. Something else that I'm going to talk about today is, of course, what I'm wearing. This is Tresse by Isabell Kraemer. I don't think I've worn this on the podcast before. And this is knit with Arctic Crafts in Unicorn. What Unicorn? It's my Merino DK, strong Merino. There's nylon in this, and I started a pair of socks with the leftovers. And that pair of socks are among my hibernating whips at the minute. I have hibernating whips that you haven't seen because I started them after my last episode. But to not make too much of a mess of this, I decided to not go through whips I started in between my last proper episode and now. I'll show you my whips as I'm working on them, and hopefully the hibernating whips will show up. Either that or they get frogged, but hopefully they will be finished, and I will show them when I pick them up again. I finished a sweater for hubby. I think I showed you that in one of my advents. And I did a major haul. Speaking of hubby's sweaters for hubby, I did a major haul in the local yarn store. I bought yarn for a sweater for hubby. yarn for a sweater for my oldest son, and some silk mohair for me to hold with a yarn that I was sort of disappointed in when I got it. It is a hedgehog fibers, and it didn't look the same as in the picture, I feel. It was much more, it looked more of a sort of a tonal in the pictures, and it turned out to be variegated, and a variegated of the kind that actually makes, that can flash or pool. So I bought some neutral mohair, silk mohair to hold with it when I knit something with that yarn. And that is also something I'm going to show you as I'm working with it. And all the other yarns will show up as I'm working on the sweaters. And now I have to show you, I got thirsty. So I have to show you the Christmas present for hubby. It was almost sort of a joke gift. Because we are going to England in March, and we are buying hospitality tickets for a football game. That's really expensive. And he didn't want to sink a lot of money into a Christmas present. And I understand. The sweater I knit for him was his Christmas present from me. And he decided, since I'm an influencer, I needed a Stanley. So it's sort of, oh my gosh, you guys. But it works. It holds liquids, and I can drink from it. My youngest son was shocked by the size of the thing. He's heard about, he's on social media, so he knows all about the Stanley craze. But he has never seen one in real life, and he was shocked when it came to the size of the thing. It holds a lot of liquids. I could drink from it. So, but I think it was sort of a joke gift, because you think, I'm an influencer. Yes, so I needed the Stanley. Enough about that. I also bought something else. I'm going to show you this before I show you my knitting, because it's right in front of me, and I'm looking at it. I actually got myself some books at the end of last year. I got myself a new planner. I've had the swearing kind, the angry kind of planner for years, and it hasn't worked. So I sort of went with a cute one this year, with flowers and bees and butterflies, and it's really cute, and that's what I went with this year. Maybe it's easier for me to pick it up, and it's got these really clever pockets on the inside where I can put stickers and stuff. And on it I have a pencil case that I got from Sue in Canada, that you just strap on your planner. And I'm not sure where she got this. There's a label on here. I'll get the information for the show notes, so I can put it below. The other two books I got was this. I wanted to try this for some time, because I enjoy doodling. And this is sort of a crash course in making art from doodling. It's just different techniques where you can make pretty pictures without actually doing a lot of... it's called Zentangle for a reason. So that's one book I got. And I also got this. I'm not going to read the title out loud. But I got a bit frustrated when I opened this book, because I can't read the numbers without a magnifying glass. Okay, so I'm turning 60 this year, but there has to be a point where you... Okay, so I need a magnifying glass to do this book. My husband collects stamps, but he hasn't got a magnifying glass. It's sort of irritating. Not as irritating as me needing a magnifying glass to do that book, because I bought that to be a relaxing thing to do, and I need a magnifying glass, so it was sort of annoying. But anyway, it would just have to be put to one side until I get a magnifying glass. I could use my mobile phone, of course, but that's too much work. So that's the books. And now I'll show you my knitting. And I'm going to only show you my active whips. Or sort of active. I've had this bag in my, it's from Giberu Sus. I've had this on the couch beside me throughout Christmas with all the stuff I'm working on inside. And what I'm been working the most on is my Radvent row by Ambah O'Brien. I've told you this before. I bought 24 minis from Beehive Yarns in groups of 6. I bought 6 mini skeins, mystery sets, and now I only have one left to do. It's this color, and I'm going to show you. I block them 6 at a time because I need a lot of pins. It's kind of wobbly at the end, but that will vanish when I put them together. And these are the 6 I have blocked. And as you can see, some of them are sparkly. And she sort of color coordinated them. And I was thinking about color coordinating them when I put them together as well. So I sort of had one stripe of each color family of sorts. But it won't work because 2 of the sets are kind of in the same color scheme. So I just have to put them random, or I'm not going to do them random. I'm going to put them together the way I like them the most and take a picture and use that picture when I put them together. I'm going to put them together with this. This is handspun. And the fiber was from Ulvei. And it's got a tiny bit of glitter in. I'm not sure you can tell, but it's glitter in this. And it's sort of... I wanted to use handspun for this because fluff to stuff, I need to use my handspun as well. So that's one of the things I'm actively working on. And I also have 2 more whips in this bag. The first, this is a sock pattern by Kay Jones from the Bakery Bears. It's the DunBroch socks. DunBroch, not sure. It's Scottish. And the yarn is from Fortuna. It's a Norwegian dyer, and the color is Clementine, or Clementine as you would say in English. I've started the second sock. The other project I'm working on, that's almost hibernating. The socks are almost hibernating because I've got a really fun I can't speak today. I'm out of practice probably. I have a new project. I'm going to show you that I'm only working on that. But this is the Cozy Walk, a new shawl pattern by Isabell Kraemer, and the yarn I'm using is left over from a sweater I knit. I have enough for the shawl left because I bought too much yarn for that sweater, to be honest with you. And this is, I think it's popcorn. It's called popcorn. It's Dalgaard. And the yarn is called popcorn. And it's going to be a big shawl, and I think I'm going to finish it at some point. I'm using my Addy click needles for this because that's not my favorite needles, and that way I can sort of forget about that and knit on it from time to time, if you know what I mean. And then to the project I'm actively working on. When I was going to the local yarn store to buy the yarn for all the sweaters, or the 2 sweaters, I was looking at patterns beforehand, and I was looking at Rauma's homepage online to see if I could find any patterns that I really loved. And I found a pattern for my oldest son's sweater, I found a pattern for my hubby's sweater, and I found a pattern that I needed to knit for myself. And this doesn't look like much. And I'm sure you can't guess what this is. So I'm going to put up a picture of this so I can show you. what it's going to be like. And it's so brilliant. It's going to be a shawl, as you can see in the picture. And plan is that this is the steek, because this is in the round and I'm going to steek it. And I'm going to cut in the middle of this and unravel it, and then the unraveled yarn will become the fringes of the shawl. And this is just brilliant. And it's so much fun knitting proper stranded knitting again. And it's Rauma Finull in these two colors. I have more, of course. I needed 3 of each color to knit the shawl. So that's what I've been working on the last few days. And another project I'm probably going to start today, even though I have plenty of whips, is this. The bag is made by Sue, by the way, in Canada. I'm just going to hold this up and show you. I could, of course, show you each of them one by one, but there are 24 of them, so I couldn't be bothered. This is my Advent from Ulveig. I spun up, it's her mystery Advent, so you never know what you're gonna get. And I spun up each day and made these cute little mini skeins. And I have it, there's not the same, because there are different fibers and of course a bit of variation in the weight of the fibers. So I'm talking about the gram weight of the braid itself. I can't call them braids because they are tiny little tufts of fiber, but I have between 15 and 20 meters for each mini, and I have 24 of them. So 15 to 20 meters doesn't sound like much, but when you have 24 of them, it's enough for a cowl or something like that. But then I thought, why not start a granny square blanket? Because I know I'm going to get the same Advent for the Christmas 2025. So why not start a granny square blanket and add on to it? And I'm going to join them by doing one row at the end of the square, and I'm going to do that on all the squares, and I'm going to use this color yarn for the joining and the last row on all squares. And I'm going to start crocheting squares today. I'm going to start with this one and see how much I get. And if it becomes a really, really small square, I might do something different with the yarn. I might go back to my idea of a cowl, but I think a blanket is more fun, and then I can add on to it next year. I could also use 2 colors for each and make bigger squares, but I think I'm going to do single squares. And that's crochet, and I think I'm going to start doing that today. I bought myself a 4mm crochet hook. I know I have a 4mm crochet hook, but I sort of needed a new one. So I bought a new crochet hook, and I'm going to start doing this today. Starting with this because it's the smallest. And then we'll see what, for all I know, some of them are really hefty, so I might get 2 squares the same size as this from one single one. So I'm not the world's most consistent spinner, and some of these have silk in them and some of them have bamboo in them, and I'm not too good with those kinds of fiber yet. So and it's kind of my own fault because I'm not good at spinning this sort of fiber, so I'm avoiding it, and that means I don't get any practice either. So that's sort of my own fault. I also got a lot of gorgeous fiber from Australia before Christmas. and I'm going to spin that up. I have plans on, I got 300 grams of a pink merino, and I'm going to dye up roughly 300 grams of Polworth in colors that work with that, in a variegated, and I'm going to make a sweater spin out of that. But I'm hesitant starting any spinning projects because I'm waiting for a wheel that's on its way to me in the mail. I bought myself an eel wheel. And I'm going to start that sweater spin on that. And I'm going to start with 300 grams of merino from Australia. That's going to take some time. The good thing is I can continue on my sweater spin with the Hillesvåg fiber on my Ashford, because I don't think I want to switch wheels in the middle of a project. So I think the Hillesvåg sweater spin is going to be my Ashford spin. And then I'm going to use my eel wheel for experimenting and smaller quantities. I have a couple of braids that my friend Sue in Canada bought me. So I have lots of fiber to play around with. I'm just waiting for my eel wheel to arrive, and in the meantime I'm still working on my sweater spin with the Hillesvåg fiber. So that's the spinning. I don't have a lot of other things to talk about when it comes to knitting. I hope I haven't forgotten anything, because I haven't recorded a standard podcast in a while, so I probably have forgotten stuff. I've been working on things that I haven't shown you before, but this is, as I said, a fresh start. So I'm not trying to... I can't be bothered, to be honest with you, to go through all my projects and figure out what I have talked about before, what you have seen before. So this is me starting all over again. I probably should call this episode 1, but I don't want to do that. This is episode 125. The podcast is still called Epilogue Lady, and it's still me, and it's still going to be the same thing. Still be sort of videos sometimes of me going for walks, maybe some northern lights, and there will be live stuff. And speaking of live stuff, there hasn't happened a lot of exciting things. It's just, we had just had Christmas and New Year's. I'm on call at the shop I've been working at for the last 6 months. Maybe it's more. And now I'm on call, so I have more free time, and I have more time for stuff like this. And as soon as I finished my, what do you call them, 10 years? At a shop where I'm working 3 days a week, my knitting mojo came back immediately, because I finally had the time to sit down and work on something for a couple of hours without being disturbed by something. And I wasn't exhausted. So it worked out. My crafting mojo came back as soon as I got some more free time. So that's a good thing. I now feel like I can dye some fiber, dye some yarn. I can do a bit of stuff like that. I haven't been able to do that for more than 6 months. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to dye up some fiber for the sweater spin, as I said. Because if I have 300 grams of merino in a beautiful dusty rose color, I of course need to dye up just as much yarn in a variegated to hold with it, to make myself a beautiful sweater spin. I was thinking about doing a combo single with that, because I have yarns that sort of have some pink in them, but I decided no, I don't want to do that. I want to do a combo spin at some point, but I think I actually have to buy fiber with that in mind, if I'm going to do a combo spin. Either that or dye up fiber to do a combo spin. I know the idea of a combo spin is to use fibers that aren't similar. That's the entire point of it, I know. But so I should use the ones I have for that combo spin, but I'm dyeing up 300 grams of a variegated with sort of pinks and maybe blues and purples in it to use with a single. It's a semi-solid, or it's a solid, the yarn from the fiber from Australia. I also got some Polworth from her in natural colors that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with yet, but I'm considering spinning them and plying them on themselves, so I get 3 different colors in natural colored Polworth and doing a project with those in stripes. That's sort of what I'm thinking. So that's what I had for episode 125. And now that I've started again, hopefully I'll be able to do another episode in not too long, and hopefully I have something to show you. A new cast on. I'm going to do my oldest son's sweater before I do hubby's, because hubby just got a new sweater, and I'm going to do my oldest son's sweater first. And I will have casted that one on the next time I record. So I'll see you when I see you, and I hope you have a nice weekend and that January is treating you kindly. Bye bye.